dependent, as you mentioned, on Verdant.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the exact same draft. I'm not going to lie, Verdant, they should have won. They should have won that game. They really should have done. But a couple of times they just ran into Denvoxne, not anticipating his damage. I remember like at tier 2, they just don't expect Denvoxne to pull the on the hunt and just run down the entire team, mow them down, right? They absolutely do not expect that. They just get one shot and then they lose back-to-back fights. As the draft does come through, and yeah, we're seeing the exact same bans. I don't think we're going to see any alterations.
I hope we do see some level of alteration, but I know you're right. I guess the alteration is Nativz are on the blue side this time, and Verdant are on the red, so there is a little bit of room. But this Poppy is being a real problem for the side of Nativz. They lost game 1 to an amazing Keeper's Verdict, which basically just shut them down and stole the Baron away from them.
Maokai.
This time around, yes, that Maokai is up and available. I'd like to see it. It's proactive. It can start fights. It's engage heavy. And it can also do stuff early. I think, honestly, Nativ's best avenue to beat Verdant right now is not to play their game. It's to beat them at a different game. Play faster pace than what Verdant are doing. Because Verdant seems to be quite content to play for mid/late game.
And the slightly fun part about all this is that the way to get Stefan off of carry junglers is to leave one of the OP dog junglers open. They've left Maokai there. Stefan now has to take it, otherwise he's just trolling and giving over. Maokai Rumble is never something that you want to be doing. Verdant do obviously end up getting the Rumble for themselves. But the Ivern was something that we'd mentioned in the prelude to this series. It has got through in game number 2. I can expect that we're just going to let that one go fully through for the rest of the series, honestly. With Rumble Jace locked in, already Verdant with that fundamental of fairly long range damage if they need it, doing the equalizer and the shock blasts.
Yeah. What jungler do we see match for Verdant into this Maokai? I think the logical answer is the Ivern, because Daisy acts like another frontliner with that Maokai. This is a really cool lock-in, by the way. We've seen Vladdy's Yone.
Oh, it's locked in?
Yeah, but Maokai Yone as a duo is a really potent duo, because the way it works is Maokai will ult from Fog of War, and everyone on the enemy team will line up behind one person, right? Which lines up a Yone ult perfectly. Right, so this is actually a really, really good duo. I'm so glad to see it locked in. And Rakan finally locked in away from Wendell.
That's a huge... We're seeing a lot of versatility, a lot of change here on the side of Nativ's draft. I think this is a really nice one for them. Crucially, it does something. I think that's the major thing. It's not one of those teams which doesn't do anything. It actually does something other than relying on the enemy team to make those mistakes. On the other hand, though, I do think Verdant have also locked themselves a comp capable of doing something. They've got that Nautilus, they've got the Jace for Poke and the Rumble, forgot the name of the champion there. I want to see what jungler they're going to look to pick up here. What some kind of engaged jungler I think is necessary to kind of make this Verdant and really unlock this Verdant comp. I don't want to see like a carry jungler. I don't really want to see a Trundle. I know Trundle can obviously steal those stats away, but I just feel like you want someone who can kind of like, I know it's stupid, like an Amumu-esque style jungle. I don't think it should be Amumu, but you know, a champion who just goes, I press button, fight starts.
The thing is, it's not going to be Amumu. Amumu is banned. But you're quite right. We're looking for something to start out that engage for Verdant, and with that, I think we may get to see the rarely, never before seen R5 AD carry for Gooby down on that bot side. We have Xayah banned away, Seraphine as well taken off the board, so maybe Varus we see come through. Aphelios Jinx have been teetering around in the meta. There are a couple of just true hyper carries that you can pick up for both of our carries down on that bot side. But Verdant, they take away 2 of those safety nets that Denvoxne would have been clutching on.
Ooh, this would be interesting. Something in the LCK we've seen. In the LCK, we've seen Skarner into Maokai Sejuani, and they've just seemed to have decided that Skarner beats them, right? So this is their answer when the whole jungle pool is pinched and the enemy team has one of these, and I guess Tax has been looking at the LCK.
I mean, I'll give it to him. Let's see if it's going to work out. Still, I wouldn't say it's like an engaged jungler is my only major concern. Varus is up and available, though. So I feel like that's not a bad pick. That kind of gives you that long range, but it also gives you that kind of long range, non-committal engage, which I think Verdant are lacking right now. And with the Sivir pick up here for the side of Nativz, yes, she can eat the chains with her W, but at the same time, later, that W might be quite useful. The chains might be useful elsewhere. Sion being the final pick here for Shikari. That's the I don't want to lose lane, I just want to hold waves pick. Decides to change it actually and go for the Cassante. Exactly the same thing effectively in that sense. Let's see what Verdant decides to pick up as their ADC.
Yeah, I was going to say that Cassante is just, it's one and the same, right? There's not really too much difference there. Misfortune here actually looks really good for me, just personally, but looks like they're going to go for something, a bit of an old school answer to the Sivir if this gets picked up here, and not necessarily the traditional pairing that we see Twitch go with in the Nautilus, but Twitch very good versus the Sivir. It's typically very difficult to try and, you just have to predict when the large source of damage is coming out from the Twitch. There's nothing really good to spell shield. It's usually you're trying to use the spell shield onto the contaminate, the E-proc that Twitch does, and if the Twitch just holds it, it can be very difficult for Denvoxney to predict.
Yeah, and Twitch we often see come out into like Zeri, Sivir to handshake scaling, and I really like that as a pick here for Gooby. It's super interesting. Some unconventional picks coming out for the side of Verdant with that Skarner and that Twitch, but I also really like Nativz' draft because we actually have a balance of frontline and backline this time. We don't just have like 4 backliners and 4 twists on this Nautilus support with very low income trying to frontline and face check on his own. We have Stefan who can walk in and take back river control with his saplings and his entire body, and Shikari who's essentially an immovable wall on this Kazante. Definitely much more balanced there.
I think looking at this game, I'm happier with this draft finally. This is probably the first time I'm actually look at a Nativz draft and I go, yeah, they've actually walked away with a solid draft here. This works, and I can see the conditions in how to set up and play this one. So I think for the first time, I'm actually very sold on the Nativz draft. I think Verdant still got a very solid team. Like you said, the Twitch kind of old school counter pick into Sivir. I mean, Twitch, as long as that champion exists in the state he exists in, there's always that element of if Twitch just shows up at the wrong time, presses R, and just mows down the team, there's not really much you can do about that. So it's going to really kind of be on Gooby now that he's actually having to play an ADC and, you know, see how he plays these flank angles. But I think, honestly, just going off the draft, I'm more sold on what Nativz have put together here than what Verdant have.
I do want to touch a little bit on this Skarner pick specifically, because we don't get to see it too frequently. But something that if it is going to start cropping back up into the meta, people need to be aware of is the fact that teams are going to have to start paying a Skarner tax. Nativz, of course, they've got 2 champions which pay it quite nicely in the Yone, in the Sivir. Obviously, Sivir has a spell shield, so there's that element of, ooh, can I risk going for a non-QSS item, basically. But with both of them building into AD, it's not that bad. If Nativz get that gold lead, I think it's going to be really important, because 2,600 of that gold can just be Skarner tax, not thrown away, but made sure that the Skarner's impact is severely mitigated through the mid and late game of this team fights.
So how does the early game play out? Well, for the side of Nativz, Hitbrain, you're going to absolutely love to know that nothing's going to happen except for shattering the Yone and the head back. They're going to like sapling up the mid side of the area. They're going to ward up to make sure this Yone can get through the early game. You typically want to play through a Yone early game because yes, he can sustain through the early lane phase with Orange Shield, second wind, and stuff like this. You need to make sure he doesn't fall behind because he's very similar to Yasuo in that, you know, he's very vulnerable. So yeah, expect a lot of 3v3s mid lane with that roaming Rakan up to mid, with Maokai around mid, setting up vision to make sure and set up Vladdy for success.
I mean, if something happens, I'm happy, right? Like, that's all I want. I just want something to happen.
The bar is exceptionally low right now. Just do anything and Hitbrain's happy.
Honestly, that last game, now the more I thought about it when we went into the break, it was just like, nothing really happened until Verdant started making mistakes. That was the only reason that Nativz got back in that game, was because Verdant kind of clumped up at that tower, then made a mistake into the Baron, into the Dragon. Please, something, anything. Just give me some early action. I want to see an explosive game. I mean, we missed 9 minutes of the first game, and it was 1 kill. 1 kill in 9 minutes. So that kind of shows you the point of both of these games definitely do. Both these teams, do definitely play a slower game. It's kind of expected in a Denvoxney game, but also Verdant, like I think it was Aragon said, do just like to play front to back.
Yeah, I will say, Hitbrain, look, just short point here. Unless Nita oversteps to a Maokai W, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be a very slow game. Jace, fortunately, is very susceptible to being ganked, and they do have the point and click, and the Maokai is typically like a soft counter in the mid lane. But I'm going to be real with you, this is such a slow draft from both teams, honestly, that realistically, we're going to have to fill. So get your fill topics ready, Hitbrain.
Okay, well, we unfortunately having issues again, as we have had all day. There is a issue with the tournament client. If you're wondering why all of our games seem to take so long to start, that's the reason. We are into game finally. One apiece between these two teams. Game 1, very Verdant dominated. Just, they had so much control. I mean, there was like one moment where it felt like there was a glimmer of hope for Nativz, and then that was over very quickly. On the other side, game 2, I think was just Verdant losing more than Nativz winning. That is my genuine belief on that out in that game. It felt very much like Verdant made a mistake and Nativz were able to punish them for it.
Interesting full stack on this top side, though, from Verdant. They've got all 5 members north of the top lane or in the top lane itself, and with a Twitch as well, the tendency to press Q level 1 and go for a little bit of some crazy invades definitely on the cards.
Yeah, I wonder if they're anticipating Twist actually Wing over the wall and then, cheesing that way. That's something you see Rakans do sometimes, but still, he doesn't go for it. I respect the level 1 cheese trying to find something with this Twitch. Something I want to highlight, though, is the draft strategy for the side of Verdant. Letting jungle go, drop down to second rotation, something that's almost never done these days. Often, your junglers just get so pinched that you never want to do this. Yes, you have a great answer in the Skarner into tanks, but often you really don't want to go down a tier of junglers because of the power of the current meta junglers in like the Maokai, the Sejuani, and champions like this. We'll see how Taxa pilots it. Maybe he can make up for the difference in just raw champion strength. I think Maokai is just unbelievable right now, and I think a lot of casters share the same opinion. Rududu especially.
Yeah, definitely. Maokai B1s, I'm all for it. I did see a Skarner, I think it was in the LPL actually today as well, right? You talked about the LCK presence. It's made its way over to China as well. Tarzan pulled out in a game 5 of an absolutely bonkers series, but Stefan making the most of the Maokai's very early gank potential.
Yep, they're going to be jumping in. Twist is going to look for that knock-up. They get them with the knock-up. Stefan keeps the pressure on. There's the flash. And Verdant forced away.
So how do they regank this, right? I imagine Stefan's probably just going to clear up the top side again, but still, he's on this dog jungler. This is exactly what I love to see, right? He's so good at playing these champions who could just drop camps and then permanently clear. You could see that Naita actually took the time now to ward up these. Look at him. He's invading, dropping some vision to track, help track Stefan again, potentially to help out his bot lane just in case they get reganked with that flashless Nautilus.
Definitely a world where they just go and invaded on that red buff itself. Looks like it's not going to be the case, so more power to them. They decide that they're going to play the safe route, but Tax is obviously going to be ahead in terms of clear speed. Will have completed all 6 camps before Stefan ever will. So little advantage over to Taxa specifically in the jungle matchup. Obviously traded out for the support's flash himself, but Stefan, he's not going to have a flash for another 4 minutes or so, where Wendell still has that Hex flash, so the Nautilus not necessarily too impeded from engaging. Obviously disengaging and getting away from danger, a completely different story.
Absolutely. Well, Nativz are going to get this shove in nice and early. Vladdy doing Yone things, jumping forwards, taking a trade, pinging back. As Stefan actually wasn't really punished for the gank bot lane. Has been able to go and grab his camps, is going to get himself pressure on this topside river, so he'll be able to get this crab as well, and then rotate back into his blue side and finish clearing up the jungle. So overall, Stefan is going to be happy with this one. Has been able to achieve a fair amount off the back of that gank and not really lost too much for it.
And one of the fun little mini games that you get to play as Skarner is Spire Watch. In pretty much every single 10 seconds, you want to be looking to see which spires have been taken, see if you can track the enemy jungler with that sort of on the mini-map, see if you when the river one gets taken, there's an opportunity there to spot out where Stefan had been. Obviously a fairly late take of the topside camps for Stefan. Tax is already cycling through his second respawn of Wolves, where Stefan finishing up that first clear. He's going to be a little bit delayed getting the back through. Get to see just a little engagement down on that bot side. Nicely evaded by Ruby.
Yeah, you can see, look how much vision there is on the minimap right now. Both of these mid laners are so susceptible to ganks that both teams just refuse to give up any vision. You can see every single entrance is warded to make sure that neither mid laner is gankable. Wraith started up here, they might be stolen away.
Yeah, looks like Stefan making his way over, though. Doesn't really have the pressure in the mid, but Twist is roaming over to see if he can contest this. Stefan should be getting this one for free. Smite comes down. Twist goes in for the knockup. Taxa looks for the stun. Unable to connect it. Shot Blast comes in. Twist battle dances away to safety. And that is all she wrote on that little play.
And really nice heads-up play there from Stefan. Sacrificed taking his wolf in time. So that big wolf is still standing, but makes his way down to the Raptors, defends those, makes sure that that large chunk of XP isn't going over to Taxa, and giving what is, generally considered a meaningful jungle advantage over to Taxa early enough, with that Raptors being denied away from the Skarner.
was very nice, actually. It was very heads up by Twists as well, because they recognized that they didn't have the mid prio to be able to really contest that. Vladdy wanted to grab that wave, which makes sense. So Twist comes over to make sure that jungle isn't going to get completely lost for free. They are going to be able to play that nice and smart there. But we are now approaching that 6-minute mark. It has been, again, you know, we had that one gank early, but it's been a somewhat calm and collected game.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. Even with that one gank early, honestly, you ask yourself, is that worth it? Because are you realistically re-ganking a Nautilus and killing him? You just don't do any damage. I'm going to be real with you. Yes, you have the chain CC, but severe Rakan early game just isn't most necessarily a kill lane. Still, lots of action around mid lane, right? That's exactly the thing we're looking for. At level 6, maybe we'll see some more activated plays, especially on that Rift Herald. So 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Do both supports just run up? I imagine they do. Their level 6s are insane.
I think that this timer for recalls as well is a little bit strange. Usually you'll see
7
probably
minutes.
one wave later, right? And that's what we get to see from Wendell here. I'm actually a big fan of this. If Gooby can stick around on this bot side, give Wendell just that slightly better recall timing. They're also able to deny a little bit of experience from Denvox. Now, Wendell should stay here, make sure that that wave crashes, because the whole goal of sticking around this wave was to make sure that they got the better recall, and Denvox, they missed some experience. Wendell, they're currently having a massive scrap down on that bot side to try and get the wave in. But with both of the supports now a little delayed potentially up to this top side and that Herald, with no Drake taken either, we could end up just seeing a 1-for-1 trade on the neutrals.
Yeah, definitely opportunities for a cross map. Sometimes you see teams take out the dragon earlier on, so there's no room for a cross map, but both teams are just so neutral in their draft. Both just want to scale that nothing happened. Now we see Nativz actually starting up this dragon. They have the pillar, so Taxa doesn't have it, and he doesn't have as much combat power. Loads of saplings down for river control as well. Might is going to have to face check into them.
Yeah, it's the power of that Maokai. Makes checking into the river so hard to do. It's going to not step up, and Dragon isn't even going to get started. They're going to go back to mid, grab some pressure here from Vladdy's Twist. Maybe looking for something. Just putting a pink ward down to get some control of the river.
I'm actually curious about Gooby's build path. In times gone by, you would have rushed toward a Blade of the Ruin King.
Oh, he's in danger. He can jump away if he needs to.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Nice and easy to get out of there. Gooby now hit level 6. Means that open up capabilities now available for the Twitch. With a new quiver in the inventory, does look to be heading towards that Kraken Slayer a little bit sooner than might have anticipated from the build path. But honestly, with on hit being so strong and there are so many items that you can get away with building on, you know, these on hit style marksmen, Gooby's build path really up to his own devices here. He's not too much magic resistance need to be built up, so Wit's End likely not going to be in the picture, but you know, things like Rage Blade, things like Gale Force, they're all options. It's going to be up to Gooby to choose which of those is going to be the most suitable for him through these fights.
I think Gooby's spotted. He might be engaged on here.
Ooh. I think they were just on the edge of the circle, so they didn't see him. Dragon does get reset. Stefan has that 6, though. Nearly holding teleport. Expect to see that come in. Vladdy coming over the wall just to get a little bit of vision poked out and prodding out on what's going on. It looks like Nativz are just going to give this. I think it's too risky of a fight for them to take. Nilly had rotated down where Shikari hadn't. So they're just going to take their topside win.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a late first dragon that the Dragon Soul win conditions come out so late as well. Like, honestly, you don't really care. You trade out some plates to the side of Shikari and make his lane a lot easier. If we wanted to see that happen, we had to see Stefan throw that blind ultimate from Fog of War, so it was really hard to react into that Vladdy combo. But you could see that Vladdy actually used his E, and that has a really long cooldown. I believe it's like 20 plus seconds, right? So there was just no follow-up available. In the end, Nativz just decided we're not contesting, as they might dive here.
Oh, they're going in. The teleport's being used. They're going to look to just run away. Ultimate on. Then Voxy being chased down. Goes pop there by Gooby. The carpet gets laid down. Then Voxy W's away from the slow. Is still chasing, but it looks like Nativ's going to be able to get away.
Yeah, Taxa saw him use the spell shield there. Oh, mid lane. Ooh. Great buffer from Vladdy. He gets out to safety using the Fate Sealed. I figured with Den Voxney using the spell shield there, Taxa might feel emboldened to flash on the Sivir, try and pull back. Not going to be the case though, and we get to see a good disengage on all fronts from Nativz. Vladdy evading the mid lane, Den Voxney and Twist out on that bot side. With that big commitment in the mid lane and bot lane, we do see that Nativz find that cross map play. Securing the Herald, and now with Stefan with a little bit of time to get back to base, we'll see where he'll end up taking this Rift Herald and whose pockets he's going to be lining.
Brain, dude, in the LEC, we had a very late first blood, right? I believe this is the latest first blood of the LEC. as I don't think this will be a First Blood either, but they had a little game, right? They had a game of predicting when the First Blood would come out. So, any predictions?
I think we're looking 12 minutes 38.
I'll go 13:40. Just before the next Drake spawns. One of the supports is going to get caught out looking for vision.
By the way, you don't get a default win if it's in like 15 minutes. Just because you pick the later time.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy with that. That's an agreeable condition.
Third dragon. Next dragon is Cloud Drake. It's only the second Drake as well, so I think it'll be cross-mapped. I imagine it'll actually be third dragon at a team fight. Or someone's just going to run it down. Yeah.
It's the other shout. Either way, it could very well be a while, right? and obviously, you make the brilliant counterpoint of somebody has an oopsie and sends it down to just give First Blood for no reason.
I feel there's a world where they could use the Herald, and because obviously it's the Maokai as well, they could use that as a window to find that pick. That's my thought process on it. It looks like Tax actually looking to jump in onto Vladdy. Vladdy's able to jump away. Twist doesn't quite connect on, and there's just so much disengage. Everybody's able to get away.
Lots of pretty colours, but nobody dies.
Yeah.
That's the NLC game plan for both of these teams at the minute.
Yeah, of course, literally everyone on the entire map has flash as well, so even more room for error right there. Like, the only one who doesn't is Wendell, but you know, he's not as tanky as Denvoxte. Please die, so we can have some...
Lil Bro's fine. Don't even stress. Don't stress, folks. No First Blood. Hitbrain, do you want to go do a lap of the crowd? This is what Medic did. Medic was so bored, and there was no First Blood. He just ran around and high-fived the fans in Berlin.
I could run around and high five my family, I guess.
Around Berlin.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long old jog. You have very little faith in this game being exciting if you think I'm gonna be able to get to Berlin in time before First Blood happens.
We're just studying the trends of the first 13 minutes. That's all.
Well, my time has now passed. 12 minutes 38. So
Dude's up next. 1 minute 11 on this dragon. Will
Wait,
there
when were
be a
you?
contest? I'm at 18 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The LEC one was about 18 minutes as well, if I remember correctly. That was like 18:30-ish.
Bro, I'm gonna go get my pillow. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I need to lie down.
Yeah, if you want to go take a break, that's all good.
Yeah, I think the fun fact that's been going around recently, so I'm completely yoinking this, right? I didn't know this for myself, but the fun fact was the latest First Blood ever was 38 minutes in the LCK from Jin Air Green Wings back in the day. And
was that the same game that they had?
Wait! No, he's out! No, he's in! There's no way! Vladdy's toasted! First Blood to Wendell! Stefan should be next up on the block, but he's able to get away. Denvoxte eats the shot blast. And it's not completely doomed.
I win! I said 13:30. That was about 13:20, 13:25. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It wasn't a support getting caught, but you didn't tell me that I had to give you the specifics. I did, and I was wrong about those, but my time was right, and that's all that matters.
And I think that's probably the first time anyone's ever seen that specific micro interaction, like on the planets, because no one plays Skarner, right? But still,
Captain Flowers is not happy with you right now.
Yeah, I apologize, Captain Flowers, but still, nice attempt by Vladdy to buffer the ulti. Taxa still finding the pick in mid-game around that mid-vision. Really good stuff. Cross-map now coming in from Nativz. It's actually not a cross-map at all, it's just a play. Nativz, Verdant actually don't go for this dragon yet, so there is time for Shikari to run down, maybe shift downwards, and secure the dragon as well.
Okay, follow-up question to the what timer do we see? At what time do we see the first QSS for Nativz built?
Ooh.
How early are we going?
It has to be after second item for AD carry at least,
Yeah.
right? So 21 minutes for Denvoxte is like my solid guess, I think.
What about if Vladdy just sends one now?
Yeah, I feel like Vladdy actually could go 1 second.
Like, finish off... Is this shield bow? Blade? I mean, yeah, I think this is Blade, right? Yeah. So, finish off Blade, you go QSS. I could see it.
No, I absolutely see it. Maybe potentially there. It does look like the dragon's actually going over as well, but no, absolutely. I think there's some new items you can build. What's that item that QSS builds
Silvermere Dawn!
that nobody actually remembers exists?
Hey! I used to play Twisted Tree Line. I remember Silvermere Dawn.
Might have got it wrong.
I'm pretty sure that was the Twisted Tree Line version of QSS.
Or maybe I'm just super old.
And then you had the witch cap as
I think
well,
it's Silver Middawn.
which-
It's like a mace, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty
I
sure.
was right. I'm very
Yeah.
okay. I'm happy now.
But yeah, no, there were some funky items on 3v3. I remember the death cap that was also a Zonya's. Like,
Yeah, the
what
witch
a
cap.
broken item.
That was
That used to be in Summoner's Rift, by the way. Like, Zonya's ring back in like season 1 or season 2 or something was just Zonya's with a death cap passive.
Taxa. He's not getting Shikari. There's nothing happening. I mean, I'm a mid laner. I'm a LeBlanc player. I'm always gonna miss DFG. I mean, just pure sadness that item was removed. But then again, there's like most like damage items that had an active were removed, or their active was removed. They kind of streamlined the game quite heavily. I miss Gunblade.
Okay,
Oh,
here's a
my
fun
goodness.
question, Hipbrain. Jake, do you believe the stat line that Riot gave, where it's like 99% of people didn't use DFG active? That's why they removed it. Do you believe that, or do you think that was cope to just remove it? I 100% don't believe that.
I don't believe 99%. I do probably believe there's a large
95
portion
or something.
Yeah. I'd say it was probably a good like 70% of the player base didn't use DFG active. To be fair, but then you're also kind of basing, we might have to hold that thought because I actually think we might have a fight. As Verdant are lining up for this one. Nita on that flank, actually coming around to rejoin up with his team. Herald is going to reset. Teleport's going to come in. And
She's being mighty patient there.
they're being
Mid, though,
so
mid.
patient. Yeah, they're just going to take the tower.
Yeah, Nativz are on a timer here. Sorry, Nativz are on a timer here. Verdant are spiraling down mid lane whilst also contesting. They can actually move over as well after they take this turret. And watch Gooby's
There's no
flank position.
way.
though.
And Twist as well. With the
Gooby?
flank.
They're going to go for it. Here comes the Twisted Advance. They're going to throw everything down. Herald has been secured instantly. The red carpet's laid down. What a fake sealed, but instantly gets popped by Nita. Nativz, they get the Herald, but that came at such a cost.
Yeah, so what happened there was Vladdy actually landed a really sick ultimate, but we saw the exact same interaction again where Taxa pulled him out of it to deny it or something like this. That was an example where I really wish we had a replay because something funky happened to Vlad's ultimate there. It was really weird.
Results in a 1-for-1. And the Herald, of course, going over to Stefan now. He had the first Herald. I don't think he particularly managed to do all that much with it. We got to see Shikari break open the top tier 1, so a little bit of gold into the Casante's pocket. I'd like to see them try and break open the map. Start to try and accelerate this game, because in case anybody at home couldn't tell, with us talking about first items and, like, not first items in this game, but first items we remember having actives since we started playing League. It's been very slow. We've turned into a bit of a League of Legends podcast, which is absolutely fine because the teams haven't given us anything to work with. So hopefully this Herald can speed up the pace of the game.
Yeah, 1 minute 30 on third dragon. This is the point where both of these teams, they are slow teams. They always contest on third dragon. You can't give over the soul point because you do essentially soul is pretty much guaranteed. You only need to skill 1, right? And that's very easy to get. Verdant are in the river first. Now, it doesn't matter as much because Maokai's very good at taking back river control because he does have these saplings. He can also tank and just face check, right? So Verdant Nativz not going to have any issues there retaking river control, but still, Verdant have a lot to work with here.
Okay, we were right. Look at the inventory of Vladdy. Finishes Blade of the Ruin King. Skarn attacks paid.
Hey, that's the play. That's the play. I mean, it didn't stop him last time. He just got popped. It wasn't the Skarner that did him. He just got popped by Nita, who is 2 items in to this Jace now. Muramana fully stacked up as well. We'll be working towards that Grudge next. The big old slow and the armor pen and the cooldown reduction. That item has a lot on it. Shroud's Grudge is
Jace
actually
might
one of
be
my
good.
least favorite items in the game.
Ooh, Taxa.
Really?
I really hate it. I really hate it. Like, I loved Frozen Mallet, but Schroeder's Grudge just feels like the brainless version of Frozen Mallet.
I don't know, man. Frozen Mallet made you pretty tanky. Do you remember Yasuo with that?
Yeah, I remember that. I also, do you remember Voyboy's Tristana
Yes.
Frozen Mallet? Oh, Herald's going to get stunned. Lovely little block there, actually, by Shikari to not get hit by the CC. And is this charge going to happen? I don't think it's going to happen.
Ooh.
Oh, it happened!
Just.
40
Right,
HP.
Taxa wisely not using his smite there. Probably need it for this Drake. Nice poke as well from Nita here. 10k HP on the dragon. Remember, soul point
no
for them
flank.
if they get
Where's
it.
the Maokai ult?
Wendell flank. There's the Maokai ult. Has to now
Twist.
rejoin up the rest of his team. Twist is coming in. He's got himself up for the quickness. Immediately changes direction. Stefan launches in. Goopy's been isolated. He flashes over the wall.
He's still alive.
He's got a double kill. He's going to go for the triple. Taken away. Nativz are absolutely squashed.
Gorgeous flash from Gooby, buys all the space using the wall to just cut off Nativz. They commit so hard onto Taxa, who, granted, doesn't get to use his ult, but will more than happily take that with the response that Verdant find. We get to see this replay now with Nativz. They start up, right, everything onto Taxa, and Wendell, the fact that he comes in so late, you think maybe this is going to be disaster for them. But they've all walked over a red carpet. Nilla's equalizer to begin with was so much groundwork laid down to set them up. Get Baron in the aftermath, and Verdant now very solid in this game.
Yeah, really good positioning coming out from Gooby. I was going to make a point, because it did look like Verdant were going to lose. That Taxa still didn't manage to find an engage. You see he still has flash. That entire time, it's really on the Skarner to find something, but just the entire time he didn't. And then, fortunately, really good plays from Gooby. Everyone flashes onto him. He managed to reposition over the wall, and nothing else to follow up with. They don't manage to one-shot him, despite Twist landing that engage.
And this is once again another one of those Baron buffs where we expect to see Verdant really push the gold lead in this game. You've got two side lane turret tier 2s to take mid lane tier 2 as well for that extra little bit of map control. They take Dragon, they put themselves at Soul Point. As we take a look at those neutral objective timers, not particularly relevant now, but in 5 minutes time, Baron and Dragon spawn at roughly the same juncture, so Nativ's going to have a very difficult decision to make a little ways down the road. In case that wasn't hard enough, they're probably going to be battling up against a mighty big gold lead as well.
It'll be a very hard one for them. Shikari, just kind of playing Shikari GT. Trying to catch the wave, but now rotating multiple people over. The question is, how much are they going to gain with this Baron? I think that's the main thing when you get this Baron. What are you going to be able to do with it? How much are you going to be able to gain? But for now, waves are being pretty hard to shove in when there's a Sivir in the area, able to clear through those waves. There's just play the rotate between mid and top, bot.
One of the sort of power points of Twitch is when he hits that third item spike, and this is kind of one of the scarier things about picking Twitch. Most AD carries traditionally hit a 2-item spike and are pretty much online and ready to go with the way that they reworked items. Twitch, on this Blade of the Ruin King on this Kraken Slay, still doesn't have a mythic yet. Waiting to see which one of those he'll be able to pick up if he picks one up at all. Looking like he's working toward potentially a Runan's Hurricane as that third item. And at that point, doesn't matter that you've not got a mythic, you've just got so much team-wide damage that you're ready to take these big AoE team fights, and with the extra injection of those couple kills, he's more than ready right now.
Wendell taking a lot of damage, but Gooby's popped the ultimate there. Instantly finding the catch out, the jumping straight in onto Taxa. Taxa's going to get himself juggled around, jumping onto Gooby. Gooby's taken down. Voxney now looking for Wendell, should be able to find himself the shutdown. Kill gifted over to him. Equalizer is laid down. Voxney is toasted for half his health. 2 members down, but they are still going to lose towers left, right, and center as Taxa not going to be able to get away.
Yeah, this siege has been stalled out now, right? Taxa just keeps getting picked. I feel like the Skarner pick is just not working out. Like, leaving jungle to second rotation in pick ban and picking like a B tier, C tier jungler just to try and counterpick the enemy jungler like they do in other leagues. It doesn't seem to be working out. He can't find the flash engages. The flash pulls with the R. He just keeps getting engaged on, and there was an avenue there through Taxa's pick to land their spells onto Gooby. Gooby gets picked out and he manages to fall.
Yeah, and he was cut off from the team as well. He was actually playing a little bit of an off angle in the lane, the rest of the team playing in the jungle. So as soon as they see Gooby without any real frontline protecting him, everybody dives onto them. It's really good target acquisition from Nativz. Despite all that, though, it's Verdant that come out on top in the trade. It was a 2-for-2 in terms of kills, but turrets with that Baron, Verdant were able to take 2 down. This top tier 2 still standing. It lines up beautifully on their timing that they can play top lane and mid lane right now, try and break this top tier 2 for the next couple of minutes, default back to a Baron when it spawns if necessary. And if we see Nativz try and posture a contest around this top side, they can just quite happily send Gooby in, one-man band, finish off that dragon, give them soul. And again, Nativz, they sort of had this 5-minute window to try and figure out a game plan. They need to see what they're going to do with these double objectives spawning.
Well, look like both teams are going to go on resets now to secure that vision, get your wards, refill your wards back up, buy some pinks. Look at all the pinks being purchased by the side of Verdant right now. Dragon is definitely the main thing on the menu. They want that Ocean Soul. They're going to move down to secure that vision. Maybe drop a ward on that Baron to make sure they're not getting cross-map on, but even still, I don't even care if Nativz secured a Baron at this point if we get Soul. I'm in the camp that Soul is just the most broken thing on the planet, and yeah, you can tell that Verdant feel the same way. They're just going to move into the river right now and secure that vision.
A single control ward. There we go. Vision
Job
done.
done.
Yeah.
Done.
We can go up to Baron now, guys, right? We know that we've got complete dominion over the river at this point.
Oh, there's actually only one tower down for Nativz. I didn't even realize that's how slow it's been moving for them.
Yeah. I'm trying to look for
well.
I'm trying to look for flank wards potentially for Shikari. Maybe they find some magical flank, and I really can't see anything. They didn't manage to secure any deep wards. Maybe they feel they need Shikari to frontline. But yeah, go ahead.
The tricky thing is that you never actually see Gooby. If Gooby's playing this rightly, he'll be playing in brushes that have got pink wards in, and then playing with ambush, the Q, right, the stealth that Gooby has on this Twitch, and it just makes flank TPs so very difficult because A, you don't know which flank TP ward to take, and then B, you can't actually see the target that you're trying to flank on.
Are they just getting tower for free?
Looks like it.
They're just in the base.
This is a bit of a question mark, isn't it? They decided they really want to contest this dragon, but they do have a nice flank angle here.
They do. This is going to have to really pay off for them. They actually don't fully commit. Teleport coming in. Stefan chasing forwards. Then comes Wendell. He actually delivers into the back of the team. Vladdy chasing forward. The equalizer is huge, though. Vladdy has to back off, and Nilly's already finished up Twist. Gooby just spraying the team down. A 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah. They got really out-macroed there. They knew that Nativz would try and contest that soul point, so they decided, you know what, we're going to get mid-pro and actually just move straight down to mid as Gooby.
Oh, no, Den Fox Day! Okay, Stefan gets him in response.
Yeah, still, really, really good play macro-wise for the side of Verdant here. Barreling it down mid lane. Nativz didn't even realize what was going on. Then they chase Verdant into a choke where the Twitch and the Rumble ults just did so much work.
3v3 with TPs coming in. This is really big if Verdant get this. Nativz, they need to deny the soul.
Daxter's trying to desperately step up to see if he can get his hands onto it. 3k health, Shikari. He's on zoning duty, but he's not going to be able to zone for long. Nice. Oh, Shikari brings him back. Dragon secured. Vladdy out. They trade out losing Stefan, but Shikari with the hero play.
Yeah, job done there if you're Nativz. You don't care that your jungler falls. You're probably going to lose the Baron as a consequence, but denying the soul, as Aragon has said, probably more worthwhile. They're going to have to sort of bite their tongue a little bit, really hunker down in the base for the next 2-3 minutes or so once this Baron falls. But you've got Sivir, you've got Maokai saplings that are push as well. The wave clear, it exists. It's not great for them, and there's honestly still a timer for them to try and contest around this Baron. Verdant fairly slow to get out there because Gooby was dead. Tax had to take a reset.
I think it's incredibly difficult to contest. Now, you don't have Maokai to face check, and you don't have his blind ultimate to buy space as you walk in. I think it's just probably going to go to the damage of Gooby and the percentage off of Nilly. Still, what are they going to do with this Baron? Now it's time to crack the base open, right? Do you play on 3 lanes? Do you play on 2? Do you 4-1 or 1-3-1? There's an exposed mid inhib there you could prioritize, and that mid inhib could secure them the next dragon.
I'm such a fan of when you just see this situation and you 5-man mid lane. It then just makes playing out your map when you've got this Baron infinitely easier because you don't need to put people in mid lane. Yes, you want them there to try and catch the farm, but once they push that farm in, it's just an extra burden that Nativz will have to deal with. I think Verdant's game plan for the next couple of minutes should be fairly robust and fairly easy as a just walk forward, take mid inhibitor, and then from there they can decide, do they value top, do they value bot more. Likely with the Drake spawning in 3.5 minutes time, they want to put a bit more priority into that top side if they can get the inhibitor down there, just so that the cross map is slightly more accentuated.
Gooby showing?
So everyone's going to walk away.
Yep.
Very slow tempo game number 3. Verdant do have the control on the map. They do have the power. They're just going to siege up a 4-1. Nilly in that mid lane. Gooby getting himself set up for a potential ulti forwards. He's playing it very slow and steady.
But now if they want, they can just walk to mid lane. Nil has pushed in that wave. If they just walk in as 5 people to that mid lane, they just get the inhibitor for free, right? You can see I have to wait a little bit. Good little poke coming out. Wow, okay. That'll do it.
Yeah, well, turns out you only need 2 and a shock blast to be able to take that inhibitor. And they'll get the bot lane inhibitor tower for free here. Probably the inhib to follow after. Another shock blast coming in. They're going to put the twisted advance forward. Nativz chasing forwards. Good hook to safety, though, as Taxa hasn't found himself caught. Gooby waiting in invisibility. Knockups landing on multiple members. Gooby still hasn't pressed that button. Still hasn't started firing away, and his team is still winning the fight. There it is. Gooby's into the fray. Stefan catches out. Huge ultimate, but Gooby stays alive. Gets a double. His team mop up a total of 4 kills. They've got Baron. They've got the base. And it was a very slow tempo game, but Verdant, they got their control and they closed it out. They're on the winning point.
Love this Twitch counter pick from Gooby. Just absolutely demolishes Nativz in the final team fight.